Awesome.
And most importantly, a Bitcoin maximalist. So that's what really matters.
Definitely important. All right, everybody. I just started the stream, so I'm going to do a quick little introduction again. If you're just joining us, welcome to Beginner Bitcoin Q&A. We do this every single Monday night, 6 p.m. Pacific time. If you could do us a favor before we get started, click that little plus sign in the bottom right and invite anyone you know who might be interested in learning more about Bitcoin, someone who might have a question, someone who hates Bitcoin, whose mind we have to change. Doesn't matter. Anybody. Get them in the room. We're here to answer questions. I'm joined tonight by D++, who you just heard from, who's a coding professor and a say that one more time, D++.
Yeah, well, I have a computer engineering degree. I'm a coding professor, but most importantly, I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. That's all that really matters.
There you go. So she's probably smarter than all of you and definitely smarter than me. And she's a Bitcoin maximalist.
And me.
And then, of course, we've got BTC Sessions here. And this, again, is a Cafe Bitcoin room. We have rooms every single day, rooms in different languages. On Wednesdays, we have the Lightning Lab, which is my favorite show. It's sort of a deep dive into what's happening on the Lightning Network. Hopefully, we're going to be doing a beginner Lightning room as well. On Thursdays, we also have, it's called Deep Dive with the Bitcoin Experts, which is similar to this room, but it's more experty. There's an expert word for you.
I'm kind of really excited for this Thursday because they're doing an Ethereum debate.
Yes.
I'm gonna enjoy that a lot.
I don't know if so much of it's going to be a debate as just an utter takedown, kind of right. WWE style, but I'm for it.
It'll be fun. I'm going to bring the popcorn.
Definitely. So, all right, everybody, I think it's time we get started. Oh, one last thing. So everything I mentioned about Cafe Bitcoin, by the way, can be found at our website page. It is cafebitcoin.club. It has the full calendar of events. It has some great beginner resources, such as a link to grab a free copy of Inventing Bitcoin, which is one of my favorite Bitcoin books, links to all sorts of documentaries, all sorts of great beginner stuff. So great place to go. And again, it has all the events and the recurring events, so you can stay in the loop. All right, let's get started. I see some hands raised already. I'm just going to tell you the way I like to do this, but this part is optional. So we're going to bring one person up at a time. And what I ask is, let's change it up a little bit. You can be brief in one sentence. Tell us why you love Bitcoin, or you can tell us an interesting fact about yourself, a random fact about yourself. Doesn't have to be true. Just make me laugh. It's been a long day, and that part's optional. And the not optional part, you must have a Bitcoin question. So let's try to keep it beginner focused, but we can definitely take a stab at some more advanced questions. And by we, I mean D++. So let's choose someone top of the list. Madeleine. Oh, I can't say your last name. When you get up here, you're gonna have to tell us how to pronounce your last name. Come on up, Madeleine.
Hi. Yeah, it is difficult. It's Dutch. It's Van den Nieuwenhuizen, my last name. Yeah, so thanks so much for doing this. I'm very much a beginner, and one thing I've been loving about Bitcoin is actually the community, because for years I was so apprehensive to join in and give this a try, and I was so intimidated, but I've actually found the community to be so supportive and really nice. So that's great. One thing that I'm looking into is the advantages and the pros and cons of DCAing, so dollar cost averaging investments versus lump sum investments. And am I correct that basically it's mostly about what you're able to spend at the moment? So like that, if you're in a position where you can spend a lump sum, that's more profitable, and that if you are more able to do like $50 or $100 a week or a month, then DCAing is more your thing. Is that kind of me understanding correctly? And then the last part of that question is there something to say for doing lump sum at a good moment plus DCAing?
I would just say quickly that we are in a bull market. So when you say lump sum, I call that market buying. Market buying, in my opinion, is a great idea in a bull market because numbers go up. That said, DCAing is also a great strategy as well. DCAing, in my opinion, and Brecky and BTC Sessions, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's advantageous for folks that maybe have a little bit less conviction. So it shields you from volatility, which can be good for you mentally if you don't want to feel like you're watching your numbers go up and down kind of violently. Bitcoin is volatile. DCAing can shield you from that volatility. So it can help you feel a bit better mentally about your Bitcoin position. But, those of us that have strong conviction, given that we are in a bull market, tend to market buy.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I'll add just a few things to that real quick. I tend to agree with, I do agree with everything D++ was saying. But I just want to kind of overemphasize the mental aspect of it. Like if whatever's going to let you sleep better at night, I think is what's important. Like for me, like I have definitely done some lump sum buys when I thought it was a good time to do so. I still DCA, I buy a little bit every single day. But it kind of depends. Like part of when I DCA, it's like converting part of my paycheck, right? Like to me, it's based off conviction, based off like hating the dollar and not wanting to save money in the dollar where I can. And then lump sum is more like I'm thinking more strategically in a different sense. So it's kind of a combination of all those things. You don't have to, pick one versus the other. You can, do both.
It's just maybe a bit dangerous to wait for number to go down because number mostly go up. I was kind of wanting to do a market buy or limit order buy or whatever when Bitcoin was 12K and I was waiting for it to go down, and of course it never did. And here we are at 60K.
There's a great meme I sent my dad. It's a guy who's sitting at a computer and it says, "I'll just wait for the price to dip before I buy." And then the next photo is this, a skeleton at the same computer. So it it kind of depends. That's why I was saying like it's all about your mental state. Like at least like the way I think about it, like a Bitcoin under $1 million is cheap. Like I don't see how we're not going to get there eventually. So I'm not going to stress if it's if we dip tomorrow, I'm not going to stress if I bought today. But that's me and my conviction.
Yeah, I'd say overall, like a nice easy DCA takes out the emotion from trying to time things, and for me, like that kind of lack of stress, especially in the early days, is very helpful. Once you're kind of beyond that, once you're kind of accustomed to the volatility of Bitcoin, then really just any time, like for me, it's like, I mean, I mostly live on Bitcoin now, so when I get paid, it's just, how much of this can I save? But realistically, like if that wasn't the case, if I was mostly earning dollars, then it would be sure, as soon as I get paid, I just grab some. And for me, the lump sum tended to come in the form of, like last March, when there was just a complete irrational flash crash. And I was okay. I was like, okay, well, if it gets cut in half from where I buy it at, I would still probably buy more. So I'm totally fine with this. Things like that, when you have that level of conviction, are totally fine. But yeah, if you're not accustomed to the fluctuations yet, then DCA can definitely help with not being too stressed.
Thank you. This is really helpful. Really appreciate it. Yeah, the conviction is definitely there. I guess my last question would be, would you suggest that I just get in right now, or would there be a better
Can
way?
I ask you a quick question real quick? And,
Sure.
and don't tell us, what your position is or how much Bitcoin you have, but are you just getting into Bitcoin for the first time? Do you have any Bitcoin at this time?
No.
Okay, cool. So I think before we even get into like the best buying strategies of market buy versus DCA and all of that, I strongly recommend just getting off zero and literally just getting started with $20, $100. It doesn't matter. Just to kind of get your feet wet, because we can get into this sort of analysis paralysis thing with Bitcoin where there's so many questions that are kind of never ending, and some of the questions don't have perfect answers to them, right? Like some of these questions about whether it's better to market buy or DCA. So I would just strongly advise that you buy Bitcoin today, and you can even do it right now if you have Cash App.
Thank you.
I'm not trying to pressure you. I'm not trying to pressure you to move too quickly, but even $20 psychologically, getting off zero is really important.
Yeah, I'd echo that. And like, if the danger of waiting in a bull market is, again, that freak out of, I'll wait for a dip and then it goes up and you're like, well, crap, I'll wait for it to dip from where it just rocketed up to. And you just keep, and then it's just this terrible self-fulfilling prophecy where you wait for the dip and then the dip never comes, and it's just this awful situation.
I mean, that even happens in like in a bear market. So for some perspective, when we crashed down to 3,000, I was waiting for us to go lower, and it kept going up, and I kept waiting, and it kept going up again, and I kept waiting, and I missed buying Bitcoin at a really low price because I was waiting. So now I just buy all the time. I don't think about it. And to give some more perspective, I bought when I first bought Bitcoin, I bought 2 Bitcoins. And this was in 2013. And I bought right at the top when they were each probably a little over $1,000. We then crashed down to $300. So, at the time I was like, oh no, I just lost God knows what a percentage of it was. But, you zoom out and, I would be much happier, except I ended up spending some of that Bitcoin on horrible shit coins. So it could have been better, but if you've got that conviction, if you believe Bitcoin's going to 100,000, a million, who knows where after that, it's like, all right, yeah, maybe I could have gotten a better price, but at the same time, what's the phrase? Time in the markets versus timing the markets.
Yeah.
Yes, also, time in the market is better than trying to time the market.
I'm pouring one out for you, Brecky. All those fallen sats.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. All right, Madeline?
Yeah, Madeline works.
Madeline.
Thank you all so much. This was truly helpful. Thanks.
And please, just one last thing. Don't get perfectionistic about it. Please don't. Please just buy a little bit of Bitcoin today, and please try not to overthink it. I know that might sound a little crazy, but there's no such thing as perfection.
Buy Bitcoin today. Your future self will thank you.
Buy it. Just buy it. Just buy a little bit, please.
For the love of God, buy some Bitcoin.
The reason I say that is like this analysis paralysis is real. There was this girl on Discord who I was helping who has been learning about Bitcoin for 4 years now, and she is terrified, and she hasn't bought. She's just been doing all this education to try and be perfect about how to perfectly do non-KYC, custodial, non-custodial, all of this. And it's like, dude, it's been 4 years. Just buy the corn.
I do not want to be that person.
You have to get off zero.
All right, I think we've beaten this horse to death. Madeline, we're going to move you back down. We thank you for the question. Maybe we'll have some more from you later, and then we're going to move someone up. BTC Sessions, would you please pick someone and announce who you're picking?
Absolutely. The next question is going to be, when should I buy?
Yes, let's make this clear. We do not have any inside information about whether the price is going to go up or down. We don't. As much as we want to have that information, we don't. And we get that question a lot here. So
the answer of when to buy is in 2012. That's when you should have bought.
How does it go? The best time to buy was in 2010. The second best time is always now.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm bringing up Sean Brace, I believe.
Sean Brace, come on down.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How's it going?
What was the initial prompt that you wanted me to say, or whoever joined? Was it? I forget.
2 options: why you love Bitcoin, or a random interesting fact about yourself that doesn't have to be true.
I think just why I love Bitcoin is I'm interested in technology, and I love that it's tech-driven as the backbone, because I see a lot of products and services these days heading that way. So that's kind of the main reason what got me into it. Interesting fact, I used to be able to juggle a soccer ball for an hour straight back in my days when I played a lot of soccer. So definitely something completely different.
I'll take it.
That's awesome.
I am curious just in regards towards the future of Bitcoin and when all the Bitcoins are mined. From my understanding, it sounds like then it'll be paid, or miners will be paid off of fees. Is that what it's going to look like in the future, or is that going to change at all continuing on, 100 plus years from now? I know that's so far away, but I'm just curious.
Yeah. I mean, so in fact, a good portion of miner revenue already consists of the transaction fees. I haven't looked in the past couple of weeks here, but I think it's been around, it's double digits at this point. Like often you'll see 10-15% of what's known as the block reward be derived from transaction fees. And so Bitcoin can only handle a certain amount of data throughput in every block of transactions, or roughly every 10 minutes. So the number of transactions per second are limited, which is by design, because if the network and the chain of transactions becomes too bloated, then it becomes prohibitively expensive and onerous for individuals to be able to verify, and it has implications on the decentralization of the network. But basically, yeah, at the base layer, you're going to have the block reward diminish over time, and fees take a bigger and bigger portion over time. And you're going to see that kind of gradually play out primarily in the next, 10 maybe 20 years max. You're
Probably
the
next two halvings, maybe. I just looked it up, by the way. So for those who don't know, the current block subsidy is 6.25 BTC. So every block that gets mined, that's how many Bitcoin are awarded to the miner or mining pool that mines that block. And right now, the average fee per block is 0.71 BTC. So it's
But I think BTC Sessions makes a really good point that it's not like we're going to see the fees outpace the block subsidy well, there will be no block subsidy in 2140, but people think that like in 2140 is sort of when the block subsidy stops. But to BTC Sessions' point, that's going to happen actually pretty soon, because it happens exponentially. The block subsidy gets cut in half. So really more like in 10 to 15 years will we see fees outpace the block subsidy. But yeah, to answer your question, Sean, that's coming.
Yeah, like 2140, when the block subsidy ceases to exist, right before that, the previous 4 years, the block subsidy will just be 1 sat. So like it's literally going to be down to the lowest possible unit of Bitcoin as the miner reward plus fees. And so at that point, nobody will really care about the block subsidy. At that point, it will be all about the fees, and we're going to reach a point where it's 50-50, and then from that point on, it'll start to be, it'll be weighted differently over time, and we'll be able to see it happen as a gradual process over the next decade or two.
Does the fee, how is the fee changed in this all? Is it simply just weighted against, the block size and the mining price, or is it based on transaction amount? Or
it's not based on transaction amount. Fees are based. First of all, it's a free and open market. So as I was saying, there's a limited amount of data that can be put through with every block of transactions, roughly every 10 minutes. So it's a fee market. So if you are not in a huge rush to get that transaction through, then you can attach a lower fee. The fees are calculated per byte of information that you're sending through the network, and the fees are not based on a dollar amount, but rather on a Bitcoin amount. How many sats per byte of information are you willing to pay? So people attach a fee that they think is fair based on their time preference, and the market sorts out which transactions get picked up first. And so that does mean that as time goes on, transactions are going to be more expensive, but there's already developed second layer solutions like the Lightning Network, where you have locked up Bitcoin, which can be effectively transacted instantly off chain with a guarantee that the underlying Bitcoin is sitting there. And so you can then get instant and nearly free transactions without having to pay on-chain fees.
That's such a great point, that it's not a percentage of the amount that you spent. And that's kind of hard for us in the fiat world to comprehend, because we're used to Visa. If you're a merchant, you pay 3%. So if you have a small transaction, it might be a few cents to a few dollars. But if you have a large transaction, hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, your transaction fee is going to be proportionate, right? It's going to be in the thousands. But with Bitcoin, it's not like that. It's just the size of the transaction in bytes. It has nothing to do with the amount being sent. And there's this website. I don't know if the mods are familiar with this, but you probably are. It's called mempool.space.
It's my favorite. Yeah.
So cool. Isn't that such a cool website? It has such a cool user interface. And you can go in and you can kind of see the blocks that are being mined. You can see how much the fees are per block. You can see the block subsidy, which, as we said, is currently 6.25.
Hold on a second. Why has nobody made memepool.space?
Memepool.space. I need to sit.
We need to do that.
I need to sit on that domain. I'm going to buy that domain.
No, I'm going to race and buy it right now.
I'm going to buy this domain. So anyway, yeah, I'm just going to continue plugging mempool.space. But this will help you get a really beautiful visualization of like what's actually happening on the blockchain, how the fees work. And to BTC Sessions' point about the fee market being this open market, that's absolutely true. And mempool.space will give you kind of an approximation of what that's looking like right now. Right now, it's about 9 sats per VByte if you want to get your transactions confirmed.
Man, somebody in Panama already has memepool.space.
Wow, is it that low right now? Oh my God, I got to consolidate.
Oh, yeah?
That's great.
It is.
Now, there's a great piece, actually, I read by Zane Pocock, I think is his name.
Yep. That's it.
Yeah, it was about like Bitcoin's town square or something like that. God, I can't remember. But it's Mempool Review. Mempool Review is the website, and he has a great blog, and he has a couple of different articles about trying to make sense of what the mempool is, like the global broadcasting of just transactions. And he has such a fun like analogy way. He thinks it's like one of the most underrated parts of Bitcoin is that it's literally like this, like think of like a 50s or 60s stock market where everybody's just on the floor and they're yelling and they're holding up their pieces of paper and they're trying to bid on the price of something. It is like that in the global digital sphere. It is this completely open, like just present, anybody can broadcast anything marketplace in which we're trying to establish the price of settling data, settling the ownership of something on the Bitcoin system.
Yeah, it's a completely free market. Hey, Brecky, I'm really sad because mempool.space.
I know, I just looked it up. It's taken. I just tweeted about it. I was like, which one of you bought this? Matt Odell, was it you? Probably him.
Yeah. Let's do a who is look up on this.
I did. There's not much info.
Oh, you did?
So real quick though, I want to introduce this guy who's up on stage. He is the man who's read more about Bitcoin than anyone in the entire world. He's got an amazing podcast called Bitcoin Audible that if you're new to Bitcoin or if you're old to Bitcoin, doesn't really matter. Go and listen, subscribe, give him a 5-star review. Leave something inappropriate in the comments too. That's always fun.
Inappropriate comments are the best.
the moment I truly felt like I made it was when Guy read one of my articles.
Yeah, that's definitely a milestone. So go out there and write articles just so you can get Guy to read them.
Was that the Sessions? Was that the My Path to Becoming a Bitcoin Maximalist? Was that the first one I read?
That was the one.
That was the one. That was a good one. Oh, that was a good one.
Real quick, by the way, somebody DM'd me. His name is Jeff. He's listening to us, but he's not on iOS. He's in New Zealand and wondering what is the best way to start buying Bitcoin. He says he's a total noob. No worries, Jeff. We got you. Does anyone know a good exchange in New Zealand? I wish Zane was here. He actually does. Let me send him a message. Let me take a look.
What about Kraken?
They might be there.
I was about to say I think Kraken is in.
Yeah, Jeff. If Kraken is down in New Zealand, then I would definitely give that a shot.
Kraken with a K. Kraken. I think it's great for lots of folks worldwide.
So anyway, let's. Sean, did we answer your question? We strayed off topic. I can't remember.
Yeah, no, that was great. Thank you so much. I appreciate the insight and explaining everything.
Awesome. We are going to move you back down, and Guy, since you're new, you're going to pick the next person.
Oh, goody. All right, let's see. What do we got? I think I saw Harris up here a second ago.
Also, everybody, if you have laser eyes, I'm more apt to pick you to bring you up for a question. And you can ask us about laser eyes if you'd like. That's okay.
Somebody's breaking out the Photoshop right now.
Welcome, Harris. Tell us an interesting fact about yourself if you'd like, and if not, just let us know your Bitcoin question.
I'm a retina specialist, so I actually shoot lasers from my eyes.
Wow.
Therefore, I don't need to have laser eyes.
This man has real lasers.
All right, you win. You win with the facts tonight.
I wanted to thank you guys for all you do. I've been learning a lot. And I particularly want to thank BTC Sessions, Ben. I just got into your videos and I ordered all the stuff for my own Raspberry Pi node, so I'm sure I'll have many more questions next time.
I've got to say, Harris, the most, like, creating those node videos has been the most rewarding experience, strictly because so many people have tweeted out and taken pictures of their nodes and like tagged, and it's staggering to think, like, you know, I just threw together a video and how many people like claimed their self-sovereignty through that is amazing, and it's like the best feeling. So I'm super stoked for you. If you have questions, let me know, but have a lot of fun playing with it.
Oh, awesome. And whoever is Umbrella and developed, the software is just so amazing that it's so simple and so easy. It seems like, but it just seems like it's so straightforward. And I have Mac, so that you could do it on a Mac, it's fantastic.
100%.
Can I just run it off my desktop? I'm having trouble setting it up on my Pi. It's giving me issues. You know what?
You could run a virtual machine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You can run it in Docker. I was actually going to do it on Linux before I finally broke down and just bought another Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, and I'll figure it out. Anywho, was there a question?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, I just wanted to thank you guys.
Oh, awesome. You're too kind.
Darn it, Harris. All right, fine. All right, let's move someone up. Mike Maldonado, come on up, sir. Harris, we're going to move you back down. Don't take it personally.
What's going on, guys?
How you doing, Mike?
Good. How are you? I'm actually glad that Ben is in the room and you guys were just talking about nodes, because I watched your videos and like a lot of the questions that I have come up when it's concerning nodes. But my question is, I was listening to the podcast of what Bitcoin did with Gigi and Shinobi, and their concern was using like Umbrel or some kind of third party would lead to a more centralization of a node. So I was wondering if you guys had those same concerns and if you had any experience to running a node from Ledger Live, and what would be the pros and cons of that?
Yeah, well, so when it comes to nodes, like, I mean, the easiest way technically to run a node without having to build anything really is just download Bitcoin Core, which is kind of the reference implementation of Bitcoin. That is a full Bitcoin node. It has an entire history of all transactions and the underlying rule set that governs Bitcoin. And it's just it's a node and a wallet sitting on your computer. Takes however many days to download the full blockchain kind of thing. With Umbrel, unless you can audit, I guess same thing goes for Bitcoin Core, but unless you can audit the code itself, then sure, there's going to be a degree of trust there. Now there are, so far there's kind of two, in my opinion, very easy, somewhat noob friendly implementations of being able to just flash an SD card and start running your own Bitcoin node, those being Umbrel and MyNode. And so I guess, yeah, there's a degree of trust because it's not just Bitcoin Core you're dealing with. It's like Bitcoin Core is running on that software stack along with a handful of other software implementations. Now, it depends on what you're using, what's open source software and what's not. When it comes to Ledger Live, all you're doing is you're taking the Ledger Live software on your computer and just pointing it towards your Bitcoin node, whether that be something like MyNode or Umbrel, or whether that just be a copy of Bitcoin Core, I believe, just sitting on your computer. You just need the IP address or the onion address. I think actually only IP address with Ledger Live. I could be mistaken. And you're just pointing Ledger Live towards your Bitcoin node so that you're no longer referencing Ledger's own copy of the Bitcoin blockchain. And the same is true of any wallet that you use. You remove the trust of trusting that provider's Bitcoin node and you start trusting your own. So is there still trust involved? In some sense, yes, unless you audit every line of code, but less so than just running Ledger Live without pointing it towards any node other than theirs. So yeah, it's degrees. It's I would say that there's no such thing as absolute perfection. It's kind of a gradient. And so if you're going in the right direction, then I say that's a win.
Yeah, I just to add, I don't know, I haven't listened to the episode, so I'm not 100% sure what their criticism is. But I'll let me assume, and maybe you can correct me, is that they're talking about everybody using the same type of Bitcoin node. Like, were you saying that everybody using Umbrel they suggested was a bad thing?
Not so much a bad thing as like Ben was saying, you put more of your trust in like their development team and like whatever they have going on over there.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I would think of that as like kind of first world problems. Like the bigger problem is everybody running a node. Then when you have a lot of people, and I think the real critical key there is it easy, and do you get explicit benefit from doing so? And I think Umbrel is taking a lot of that space, specifically because both of those two things are very true. It's very easy, and I got I'm running my own, like, Dee was just talking about mempool.space. I'm running my own mempool.space on my Umbrel. So I can just go look at my node and see what the mempool is, and I don't have to go to a website. And that's really fun. And I've been wanting that for, I don't even know how long. And it's taken this long to feel like it was just like plug and play to actually do it. So that, I think, is getting a lot of people excited about running a node again. And I think it's far bigger problem that we get a lot of people running nodes again than it is that we worry about the fact that everybody's running the same type of node for right now. That's the bridge that we can cross after we get lots of nodes. Then we can complain about the fact that everybody's running the same software, and if there's a bug, that's a problem. It's like I said, I think it's kind of a first world problem sort of thing. It's whether or not we have a node is whether or not we have coffee in the first place. Whether or not everybody's running various software on that node is like, which kind of milk do you like in your latte?
Node operator. He's a node operator. Sorry, everybody. I wanted to interrupt to welcome Dennis up to the stage, as well as Nadav Cohen, two folks who really know their stuff in Bitcoin. And I also wanted to do a quick room reset. So for those who are just joining us, this is Beginner Bitcoin Q&A. The format for this is we keep the stage relatively tight, and we invite one person up at a time to answer questions. My shtick here is I request, this is optional, you don't have to do it, I request that when you come up with your question, please have that ready. Also, tell us one interesting fact about yourself or why you love Bitcoin. Again, that's optional. And of course, this is from Cafe Bitcoin. You can find out all about the club at cafebitcoin.club. We have the full calendar of events there, as well as an entire list of some amazing Bitcoin resources to get you started, a link for a free copy of Inventing Bitcoin, which is one of my favorite books. And just a quick preview of some of the things we do in Cafe Bitcoin. Every day at 6:30 in the morning, we start a new room usually. Every Monday night, we do this beginner event. There's a Bitcoin India hour. On Wednesdays, there's the Lightning Lab. We have rooms for Bitcoin in Arabic and Portuguese and Spanish. We have a Bitcoin Pakistan room once a week. Bitcoin in German, in French, in Turkish. On Sundays, we have Sunday Satoshi service, which is bit of a tongue-in-cheek room. It's kind of fun where people come and confess their sins for shitcoining. We'll get to that later. I'm trying to put together a Bitcoin Africa room, a Bitcoin in Russian room, and we have lots of one-off events as well. In May, I think we're getting Hester Pierce in here to do a room as well. Oh, and Thursdays, we've got Dennis's room, which is Bitcoin deep dive with the experts. So kind of the opposite of this room. It's a lot of fun. And this Thursday, as we mentioned before, there's going to be a complete and utter takedown of Ethereum. So I'm very excited about that one. Mike, did we answer your question?
Yes, you did. And Ben, I just want to say thank you for your videos, man. I'm learning a bunch.
Hey, no worries, man. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Dude, if anybody wants a tutorial, I go to Ben for my tutorials. Like BTC Sessions is the Bitcoiner on YouTube. And I keep telling myself that I'm going to start making videos or whatever, but it's so easy when somebody comes and asks me. I'm like, man, just go to BTC Sessions. Just type that. It's not hard to spell. Just go to YouTube. He's done all the work.
Yeah, he's the guy.
We're literally, we just sit in a circle and we shill each other. I'm like, okay, if you don't want to read this, if you don't want to read anything, you just go over to Guy and he's got you covered on like anything.
The funny thing, this is my theory, and Guy will not admit it, even though I know it's true. I think there are days when Guy's tired. He's tired of reading about Bitcoin. He's read everything. So what he does is he asks his brother Jeffrey, who's in the audience, because they sound kind of similar on Clubhouse. And here, let's bring him up. I think that Jeffrey's read a couple of the episodes of Bitcoin Audible, and we just don't know which ones. That's just me.
No comment.
Come on, Jeffrey, you got to say something to prove me right.
I don't know what you're talking about.
See? There he is.
There's no. This has never happened.
There's no resemblance in our voices at all.
Nope.
All right. Jeffrey, since you're family, you get to stay up here, and maybe you'll ask your brother a funny question at some point. Mike, I'm going to send you back down, and we're going to bring someone up. Dennis, will you please choose someone from the list at random?
On it.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Brecky, you never asked me what I liked about Bitcoin.
What do you like about Bitcoin?
I never got to say what I liked about Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin so much. I think Bitcoin, I would say it's the most fair technology, but really I think it's the most fair thing to ever exist in human history. Maybe the only fair thing to ever exist in human history. It's a system of rules without rulers, and whether you like it or not, it forces you to play fair. I don't think that's ever existed, like, ever. And I think it's going to make the world a better place. I know it's going to make the world a better place.
It's already making the world a better place.
100% agree with D++, but I thought I'd throw in there, Brecky, that just to let the listeners know, if you are thinking about asking a question, you should definitely raise your hand right now because the line and the queue is super, super short. So raise your hand, get in the queue. You'll get on stage really, really fast. You can answer any of your beginner questions.
Well, we'll try, but these short answers we give tend to be long answers. So let's give it a shot. Jair, tell us how to pronounce your name, first of all, and then let us know. Also, nice laser eyes.
You nailed the name. That's perfect. Jair.
Well, welcome to the stage, and Jair, and let us know your Bitcoin question and optionally an interesting fact about yourself or why you love Bitcoin.
Interesting fact about me. I speak Spanish, Japanese, English, and I play in a national team of volleyball at one time in my life.
In that case, you're going to have to ask your question in all three languages while playing volleyball. Go.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, ohayou gozaimasu. Nihongo mina dekimasu ka?
Arigato.
Okay, sorry. So I started installing the just for me to test because I haven't done it with Bitcoin Core. I tried just for testing the Dogecoin Core. I installed the software. I tried to run the software and download the blockchain. It was 57 gigabytes of space. So I stopped it. I didn't want to do it continue. So I just was looking at and testing it because it also uses the proof of work, same as Bitcoin. So just was testing the waters, and then I jumped into another project which is called Cardano, and I download their wallet, and I noticed that the wallet was trying to connect to different nodes and downloading the blockchain information as well. So it's the first time I see the BTC Sessions recommendation of YouTube. I will definitely have a look. But my question is about Bitcoin. I thought that for Bitcoin we needed a special async type of system in order to run the node, or it's okay to run it from a laptop with a GPU, integrated GPU Intel, just to test.
Okay, first of all, it sounds like you're messing around. I think you said Dogecoin and Cardano. Like, there's really no point in messing around with those. They're scams. Well, Doge is a joke. It's not even a scam. It's a joke, but it's turned into a scam. So yeah, just stick to Bitcoin. And you don't need an ASIC to run a node. ASICs are only if you're going to mine Bitcoin, which is kind of cost prohibitive for individuals these days anyway. You just need a regular computer. And it sounds like you don't have a lot of hard drive space. You are going to need 350 gigs to download the node. And so you can get an inexpensive external hard drive on Amazon for that.
I think it's like $100 for 2 terabytes or less.
Oh, you can go to Costco. I just got, I think like, how many? I got like 2 terabytes for like $60. It was great.
Boom.
Yeah, the difference, the ASICs that you're talking about, that's if you want to mine Bitcoin, if you actually want to perform the proof of work. But and miners will typically run nodes, but running a node is just verifying all of the rules of Bitcoin, verifying the entire system, the history, the money, all of that, and verifying that the miners aren't cheating, so you can evict them otherwise. But with that, you can just do it with a normal computer. I'm doing it on the computer that I'm sitting in front of right now. I've got my Raspberry Pi, and it's on my Linux. I have too many nodes. But it's not hard.
How many nodes do you have?
We used to be able to mine on a regular computer. Did any of y'all get that 50 BTC block reward?
I wish. I was too busy using my laptop for frickin' school and nothing else. This is a good time for
run a pruned node if you are worried about space.
A pruned node is basically you won't have a complete copy of the blockchain, but you have enough of the blockchain data to basically know that to verify your own transactions and any newer blocks.
I feel like you still, although it only takes 2 gigs of space, I feel like you still need a lot to initially verify.
You don't need a lot of space. Yeah, it does download everything, but it deletes it as you get to that 2 gigabyte threshold.
Right. That's what I was kind of wondering. How much space would you say that you would need to do that then?
Oh, I didn't know it did that. Interesting.
Yeah, if you did the prune node that I have actually does like 50, but it's like way more than I think you actually need, because like you think about it in like Bitcoin's history, if you've got a Bitcoin that exists today and there's like 20 transactions from its creation in a block, is that after you've checked and verified all 20 of them and now you've got the last place that Bitcoin exists, you can delete the other 19, right? You don't need them anymore. You already know that they're there. So I can't say for certain, but I think the UTXO set is some like the current state of all the Bitcoin that you would be verifying to is something like 20 gigs. I could be wrong about that. What is that? Does anybody know? Let me look up. Maybe Clark.
I thought you needed 350 for the whole node.
Or no, I think Guy's just talking about the largest the UTXO set has ever been, because when you are doing a pruned node, you don't keep anything more than the UTXO set at the time at which you are in the validation.
Oh, okay. I think you only need 2 gigs for that.
Is it really that small?
I thought so.
I don't.
This isn't Bcash, Guy.
So
no, I'm kidding.
Let me see if
No,
I
come
can
on, they don't
find
get
it
to 2.
so I can actually give real. Okay,
All right,
UTXO set size is 74 million. What is that for? 74 million addresses.
Okay, so
I think we went a little over there.
D++. No, don't worry. I understand the status of those coins, and it was just more for a technical testing for myself as a Linux.
I know, I
engineer.
get it. The
But
problem is it starts off as a joke, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
you develop a bit of an affinity for it, and I don't want to see that happen.
No worries. It's just my engineering background. It's just I wanted to test to see how the technology works. But awesome. I was using it in a very old laptop with it's a SSD drive, which is faster but it's small. It's as you know, the SSD drives from 2019 2017 they were very small sizes. They were not too big. So but I will definitely check, and sounds interesting. I do use a Ledger Live called hardware wallet, which I have which I use for all my Bitcoin, and I don't think I want to use the PC as my wallet, even though I will test to see how the Bitcoin Core runs and how can I verify transactions. That will be interesting to see.
Yeah, and
Thank
I
you.
believe you can even use it as a watch-only wallet, so you don't give it your keys, but it can still follow your funds for you if you want, so that it's validating your transactions.
That is in addition to the block Explorer websites, right? That we have.
That's right. It would be instead of it, because you're trusting that website, whereas if you're running your own node, then you have no need to trust the website or give up on privacy, because when you use a block explorer, they can see what you're looking at.
Okay. All right. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Yair. We're going to send you down, and we're going to bring someone up. Benny, would you mind bringing someone up? While I stall for time and introduce one more person. We've got JC Crown up here, who is a self-described Lightning addict. So Lightning's usually a bit more advanced than the beginner stuff, but we've got JC, we've got Guy, and many others up here who can speak to Lightning if anyone is interested.
Great. I am bringing up Nathan Klingen, I believe. So welcome to the stage, Nathan.
Oh man, Nathan. I was a little disappointed. I thought that your last name was Klingon, and it's not. But it's still a cool last name.
Yeah, I also speak a couple different languages, and Klingon is not one of them yet.
we can hope and dream.
When I have my Bitcoin retirement, I'll dedicate time to learning Klingon. That'll be fun. Well, first of all, just thank you guys for doing these all the time. Like so many of you are just on here all the time, giving newbies like myself the knowledge that we need. And a lot of the questions that I've just heard are like, don't seem that beginner to me, but I'm more of a true beginner. But looking at the ways to educate myself and learn as much as I can, I've been Googling a little bit about Bitcoin ATM machines, because my city in particular doesn't have that many. And I'm having a really hard time finding anybody who looks like a trustworthy supplier that actually answers questions, because there are a few online, and there are email contact forms and phone numbers, and I just don't get any responses.
Are you looking to put them in your city? Is that why? Or
yes, to buy or host. Yeah.
Okay. Hey Brett, can I have permission to bring somebody up here
Yeah.
that's an expert in this? Actually, you were on the show with him, Adam. Do you remember him?
Maybe Adam O'Brien. Yeah.
Yeah, Adam O'Brien. He did the Canadian takeover. Hold on, I'm going to bring him up right now.
Nathan,
so Adam runs Bitcoin Well, and they placed the first Bitcoin ATM in my Canadian province, and they're all over the place. Let me just bring them up here. Hold on.
Awesome, thanks.
There he is.
Hey, I've been summoned.
Hey Adam, welcome.
Thanks.
Maybe you can chat to Nathan here and give him some insight if you.
Yeah, happy to do so and honored. Thanks for having me up here, Nathan. What do you like? Where are you in Canada? Or are you in the US?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot to specify. Yeah, this American centric internet. I forgot to say that I'm in East Coast US.
East Coast US. Cool. North or south? I guess New York or elsewhere.
That question is going to start a big fight. I'm in Baltimore, so
okay.
It's north or south.
Duly noted. Yeah. So we, as Ben noted, I'm a Canadian. We're up in Canada here, but I do have a few people in the US that I can kind of throw your way. If you want to catch me on Twitter, you can in the DMs. We won't clog up the chat. But if you have any specific questions about Bitcoin ATMs, happy to kind of advise if you want.
I feel like the Liberty X guys are pretty reputable. No, I'm trying to think of the others that I know.
Yeah, Liberty X doing a good job of. I think it's still an account system, which implies, at least a basic level of custody. Bitcoin Depot is the largest in the U.S. and they're doing a great job of remaining kind of non-custodial. So I would say check out Bitcoin Depot. You know what? Let me. Brandon and Brandon's the CEO of Bitcoin Depot. Him and I have been talking quite a bit recently, so I'll put a ping into him and just kind of let him know, hey, you're slipping up in Baltimore. You're trying to be the biggest in the U.S. You're not even in Baltimore. What's going on? Ravens fans need some Bitcoin, man.
Yeah, I mean we're the other Detroit. Baltimore has had over the last 10 years. We've been like number one for murders 3 times, I think. 3 years out of the last 10, something like that. And it's a sad story of all kinds of factors, but one thing that people need here is hope. And I didn't mention it earlier as a fact about myself, but I'm in human resources because I love arbitraging hope. I like bringing people, connecting people to things that will change their lives. And I think Bitcoin is one of the paragons of those things. So is an ATM machine, how we go out and tell people to get things, and a lot of people in Baltimore don't even have bank accounts because we can't hold a bank account because it gets closed down for overdrafts and fees and things like that. But if they could just get a taste of what it's like to own an asset that appreciates, just the taste of that is enough to completely transform somebody's life. And that's what I love about Bitcoin. So there go the answers to those 2 questions.
Hey, Nathan, that's a really beautiful thing you said about hope. Michael Saylor said that Bitcoin is hope.com.
I just realized that Michael Saylor, that headquarters is like 45 minutes from where I live. I just like that. That sent tingles up my back. I want to see if there's like in any events or anything that I can go listen to.
Well, you might want to come down to Bitcoin Miami.
Yeah, he'll be there.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, thanks for that.
I love what you said.
I don't know if it's because. Oh,
sorry, guy. Your perspective around like not being able to hold a bank account. I find that so backwards in our existing system. How like non-inclusive that is, where especially for like the homeless population, where you need a job to like maintain your life, and you need a bank account to have a job, and you need an address to get a bank account. It's such a backwards system. It's kind of building up to like what you said, and kind of building off it. It's absolutely ridiculous. So
yes, and then you're late on fees. You're a payment bounces and your bank charges you a $36 no funds fee, and then you're in the negative, and then you lose your bank account. So that's just a story that goes around. Yeah,
your head and your heart are in the right spot. Let's link up. I think my Twitter profile's in my. Is there DMs?
Yes, I'll find you there.
I'm kind of new to this.
No
this
DMs
platform, but then hit me on Twitter and we'll link up on this, because I think putting some ATMs in your city is a good move.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Nathan. I'm going to move you down. I'm also going to recommend a piece by Robert Breedlove that's called Bitcoin is Hope. It's a really fantastic and not too long of a read. Highly recommend it.
Nice. Thank you.
Oops, sorry, I cut you off there. Bitcoin, my bad. Let's bring someone else up.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because I was drinking tonight and I just got off of a Liberty Lockdown podcast, but that was literally that's the rant that I was working on when I realized that I was late for this. Was I got on like how just utterly depressing it is for to talk with somebody in kind of like the legacy space. Like, you know, like they'll just tell me that, you know, there's no way Bitcoin won't just be manipulated and co-opted and stuff. And I'm just like, you just don't even believe, like, it's gotta suck so bad to think that nothing can even exist out of this kind of trap that you're in. And I get it, you know, like they just feel like there's nothing ahead of them. Everything's run by somebody else. The political system is a freaking disaster. The money is trash. The economy is trash. Like, and it's just got to suck so bad. And all I see when I look around Bitcoin is people like, man, I got something they can't touch. You know, like screw them. We're actually going to fix the problem. And it's amazing to just see the difference in the perspective about the world and what is even possible for the future between somebody who's been in Bitcoin for any length of time and somebody who's stuck on the hamster wheel in the fiat system. It's just, it's kind of crazy. It's like night and day.
Guy, we've got all these questions, all right? We've got people who need hope,
sorry.
and here you are pontificating, all right? I do love it, though. I do love it. I've invited Victor up, ironically, because I know he does not have any beginner Bitcoin questions. Victor, do you have any beginner Bitcoin questions for us?
Oh, no. I mean, I wanted to add to what you guys were talking about, prune node syncing and the UTXO set. Udi gave a presentation on AB Core, which is, I guess, a wrapper of Bitcoin Core for Android. And according to him, it was around 7 to 8 gigs that are needed. Just that's just because of the UTXO set. So I DM'd this to Guy.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you. I was trying to figure out how to do the get TX outset like command, but I didn't know how to get into the CLI on my Umbrel. So I was like, well, shit, I don't even know what to do.
So I think it's UTXO, like the max size at any time. And that's what my understanding was of his presentation.
All right, gentlemen, I have to cut off the expert talk for a little bit, and I just invited Angela up. Angela, if you're with us, come on up. Oh, wait, did you reject the invite? Come on up and ask your question. If not, we'll choose somebody else. All right, Angela. Oh, there you are. Hello.
Okay. Sorry. Hi. My first time doing this, so sorry about that.
No worries. We forgive all people with party hats, their transgressions.
Very nice. Well, thanks for taking my question. I wanted to ask about your thoughts on other coins. So do you recommend buying other coins? And if so, what do you look for in other coins that give you confidence in buying them?
I can direct you towards videos that will give you a solid litmus test of what you're looking for in terms of why is Bitcoin important, and then that's all you're going to need to contrast and compare, and likely come to the conclusion that the answer to your question is no. You shouldn't bother with other coins, and so so you know there's a lot of things that contributed to the success of Bitcoin, and in some way, shape, or form, most coins are just trying to replicate that success by iterating upon Bitcoin. But when it comes to a sound money, tiny iterations and improvements, you know, if that can supplant this like monumental shift in technology that was Bitcoin, just by adding a few extra transactions per second or something like that, if that's all it takes to replace a money at this point, then you will constantly be dealing with a revolving door of new currencies, and your money becomes nothing more than a hot potato. So there's a number of qualities of Bitcoin that are very, very unique to it. I did a video on YouTube, and actually there's a playlist on my channel. And so if you look up BTC Sessions on YouTube, you'll find a playlist if you just scroll down, and it's got we'll just say a bit of a funnier title to it, but it's called Avoiding Shitcoins 101.
Okay.
And so, but what it does is it basically takes you through, you know, why is Bitcoin successful? Why is it important? It actually has a video on kind of the implications of buying into altcoins in the middle of a bull run and what would have happened had you waited it out and actually held on to those coins. And then it also talks about, is Bitcoin at this point too expensive? And what's the total addressable market? And if it starts to take a bite out of those, how much could it feasibly grow? How big are those markets? So it'll kind of take you through everything you need to know, and then you can kind of form your opinion. If you think that those videos are trash and that I did do my research, then totally disregard them and go where you will. But I think it'll give you a good start. So yeah, just go search BTC Sessions on YouTube, hit the playlist button, and then look for Avoiding Shitcoins 101.
Is that just like a really polite way of saying that shitcoins are scams?
Yes.
Let's be nice. Let's differentiate. You know, I do think that there are a lot of well-meaning shitcoin developers out there who don't realize that they are scamming. Doesn't mean that they're not scams, but you know, they mean well. The problem is that they've entered a fight that cannot be won. Kind of what BTC Sessions was saying is that, you know, Bitcoin has some of these properties that just cannot be replicated. You know, whether it was the launch of Bitcoin, you know, or the security of the network in terms of, you know, how strong Bitcoin's blockchain actually is in comparison to all the others, or the amount of hash rate that protects Bitcoin. You know, the reality is, you know, I think there are probably a very small number of people who can trade these markets, these shitcoin markets, and maybe come out on top. You know, but the vast majority of people will FOMO in and end up losing money that they probably should have just put onto Bitcoin. And if you're doing this for investing purposes, let's say, you're not necessarily in it for the revolution, the sound money, none of that just yet. I don't think that any of these altcoins are a good long-term investment. That over a long enough time period, I believe they will trend towards zero in Bitcoin terms. And if you look at a lot of the altcoin projects that are out there, they kind of have this shortish life cycle where they might pump for a little while, but then they'll go down. And then there's the next market cycle, a new crop of altcoin comes out and has a similar, you know, pump cycle. But, you know, over a long enough time period, they all sort of trend towards zero in terms of Bitcoin. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything. Anyone else?
It's worth pointing out that that all of the little things that they claim are upgrades all come with trade-offs. So even if they succeed in like Dogecoin has faster transactions and faster block times, if everybody actually used Dogecoin, the load of running a network node would be so huge that the infrastructure would begin to break down. It would be so expensive to run a node that most people couldn't do it, and the network would be insecure and unstable. So really, most of the altcoins, they only are quote unquote better because nobody uses them, and it's really not something. I mean, one of the things that Guy likes to say is it's like comparing. You can say, well, we've got this one has a better genetic makeup, but one of them is like a fetus, and the other one is this big strong man, and this one has the better genetic makeup to cut down trees, but it's not going to beat the already grown man that, you know, in a tree cutting contest. It's just impossible. Like the network infrastructure is actually the whole fight. Like it's not the like potential. Like you don't want to buy something on its potential like years and years down the road in a fight that is already basically over. Like, you know, like it was good to buy Bitcoin if you could see the potential in what was there. But they're all playing this game of like, oh, it's going to be better. It's going to do exactly what Bitcoin did. And the game is already over. Like it really is just, in most cases, the developers are just trying to acquire more Bitcoin. They're creating a project to take advantage of people who don't know, they don't understand the technical like things that are being the merits of these systems, and and they're literally just selling you hopium.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you all. That actually simplifies it for me. Somebody had mentioned FOMO, and there was a little bit of that. Was I missing out on something? So I now I don't feel that way. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think, Ben, do you still have a your road to maximalism video online? I thought that was a wicked video.
We were just talking about that, and Guy Swan here actually did a audio version of it on his podcast. So you can
wicked.
go to Bitcoin Audible and search "My Path to Bitcoin Maximalism," and it's there. So yeah, and that's actually kind of like a reiterated video version of it, is encapsulated with the Avoiding Shitcoins 101 series.
I feel like that's such like a good, I'll shut up there, but I think that's a great series.
Well, and most of us know to avoid shitcoins because we made that mistake. Like, so it is not, you are in good company when you look at it's a hard thing to look at an asset go 10x and think, oh, I should have been buying that one. But the thing is that a lot of these markets are very illiquid, and a lot of these exchanges are built so that the house always wins. Like, there's a lot more risk in trading these things than most newbies realize. And you can even be right about what an altcoin is going to do over the next couple of weeks and still mess up and lose money because trades don't get filled the way they should and things like that.
Yeah, it's the altcoin casino. I'm sure someone's already referenced that up here for sure, but I think that's a great question and totally would second those thoughts. Like, it's a rite of passage to be in this space and get your maximalism card that way.
It is gambling. I think I'm gonna put in my bio some like resources for Debtors Anonymous and Gamblers Anonymous, because I hear folks in here that literally have gambling problems, and it's actually quite sad.
Yeah, altcoins will do that to you, particularly like you're always just chasing the next one. I can't tell you how many times, and like Jeffrey said, like most of the reasons why we end up on the other side of that and become, I guess, Bitcoin maximalists or whatever, is just because we all get burned and we see what happens in that game. And you just end up chasing green candles everywhere. Like you don't even know what the hell you're putting money in. You're just like, this one's pumping, oh my god, and you're getting clobbered 90% of the time. Like 99% of the people who do it are getting clobbered by the people who are running some Telegram group with 10,000 people, and they've put in $1 million, and then they start pumping it to everybody, and then they do a huge shill campaign on all the social medias, and then pump it up, and then they just dump on everybody. Like the game happens over and over and over again, and they got a new stupid yam coin, sushi coin. Like they got a new one every damn week. And you get sick of it. And some people get stuck. Some people just do it forever, and they miss out on something massive happening because they're just chasing the next hype.
Yeah, Angela, even the number 2 coin, which is Ethereum, has very, very serious problems and has a very bad track record of allowing scammers to use it as a vehicle for scamming people. That's pretty much where all of the shit coins are built off of. But even that number 2 blockchain has very serious technical problems. It has very serious economic problems. And there are even some legal ramifications that are going on over there at Ethereum. And I would like to just let you know that we are going to be doing this really big room. Brecky alluded to it, but we're going to be doing a full breakdown of even just the number 2 coin. Like, we're not even talking random illiquid shitcoins at this point. We're talking the second best, according to the average reporter out there. This is the second best coin, and we're going to do a whole room on why people absolutely need to avoid this thing. And it's just a ticking time bomb. They even are switching away from proof of work, which is the current technology that's used to secure blockchain, and they're moving to this new thing called proof of stake. It's totally unproven, and we are all of the opinion that all of them are going to fail, and everything is eventually going to be built on Bitcoin. But
the
I'm sure we
technical
can kick the
term
course.
is dumpster fire. Dumpster fire.
But
Sorry.
that, but
Wait,
just
sorry.
to
Wait, real
finish
quick,
up,
Sorry, just interrupting. I gotta go take my puppy out and feed him and do all that stuff. So I'll be in the room recording and streaming, but I won't be back for a little bit. So I just want to say thank you all, and I'll see you all in a bit.
Okay, Bricky, thank you.
Sorry.
But
So-
Angel, just to finish on this point, if you want to listen in up to that, that's going to be a Cafe Bitcoin room on Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, great. And so if I have some Ethereum coin, it's probably an okay move to get rid of it, sell it, and buy more Bitcoin.
I mean,
Hell
that's
yeah.
a personal decision that you have to come to that conclusion. But anybody up
But
on
yes.
the stage, every Bitcoiner will tell you that it's probably in your best interest to sell. And as was alluded to, that in the short term, these things might go up. When there is a bull market, these altcoins, they go up. It's just a part of the game. But in the long run, you're going to be much, much happier with Bitcoin. You're never going to have to worry about trading it. You could focus on your life. You could focus on your job. You don't have to focus on trading, which is really, 99% of traders lose money. So it's not a winning game.
Got it. I very much appreciate everyone's input. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Andrew.
All right. Well, Brecky is on break. Sessions, Ben, you wanna take the reins, or?
Sure, I'll grab somebody. Let's see here. Just doing a quick scroll. Let's bring up Shanna. Sure, Shanna Kathleen. Welcome to the stage. Let us know a fun fact about yourself or why you love Bitcoin and your Bitcoin question.
Okay, so I would say I love Bitcoin because of everything that all the Bitcoiners talk about. It just seems like the right investment, and like the first person who said, I love the community. I love how positive everyone is and how everyone, is just so open to teaching newcomers and discussing with other seasoned Bitcoiners. I love the community. I love learning, and I feel good about it. So good that I actually bought tickets to the conference in Miami.
Yo,
Yes,
nice.
Hey, I love your laser eyes too.
Thank you.
Yeah, those are pretty solid.
Thank you. So my question is, given the very strong stance on not investing in any other coins, what are your thoughts on investing in the blockchain technology as an alternative to Bitcoin?
So
I would say, sorry, D++, you go ahead.
Oh yeah, one thing we kind of like to say in these rooms and in this space is Bitcoin, not blockchain. Blockchain technology isn't particularly interesting.
Okay.
I mean, if you hear the word database, like, does that sound exciting?
No.
Like do you want to invest in like database technology? So anytime you hear the word blockchain, just replace that in your mind with the word database, and maybe there's your answer. It's not really sexy or exciting. It's just a distributed database. and the real magic is when you use it with Bitcoin. But it's one little piece of Bitcoin. It's certainly not the most interesting piece of Bitcoin.
Yeah,
It's
the
sort
way
of
I
like-
like to refer to it is a blockchain is just one of the many tools necessary to make Bitcoin work. But because it was the thing that sounded unique, and because the important economic principles are so misunderstood, it's the thing that a lot of the ignorant and excited latched on to promote as the next big thing. Like the idea of a blockchain itself, it's not even new. Like it wasn't created with Bitcoin. It's literally just, I mean, you might not know what a hash is just off the top of your head, but it is literally a chain of hashes. Like that's all it is. It's the next piece of data is hashed with the last. And it's basically a technique that was developed in the early 80s. But there was no real great application for it because it was never combined with a whole system of things that enabled something as revolutionary as Bitcoin, but then just got latched onto. It's just a good buzzword. But to be perfectly honest, there's not really, outside of the fact that it makes Bitcoin possible, there's not a whole lot interesting about it, in my opinion.
I was just hoping to add one thing. Shanna, a good way to think of it is during kind of the dot-com bubble and the excitement around the internet, you had this massive, groundbreaking, amazing network that was, that ended up changing everybody's lives. And a lot of companies wanted to capitalize on that. And they're like, how the hell do we monetize this? But like before the web was kind of even a thing, they're like, how do we make this our own, like do our own version of this? And so they started making intranets, which were like walled garden versions of their own like local internets. And it was like this big marketing shtick that really was not all that exciting. And so when a company comes out and says, hey, we're using blockchain, yeah, they're just using the database, and they're maybe distributing it amongst their closed kind of walled garden where they have total control. And really that's like the opposite of the exciting part about Bitcoin, and they're trying to market it as a buzzword. And we've recently seen people like IBM just like cut their blockchain, I guess, sector, or their blockchain development groups down to like bare bones skeleton crews, because they realize there's like nothing about it. We used to see all of the big banks saying, hey, Bitcoin's not exciting, but blockchain shows real promise. And what do you have now? Every fucking bank out there being like, well, Bitcoin could go to $400,000 because potentially it could disrupt gold. So it's like this total inversion as people are realizing that it's not blockchain, not Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin, not blockchain.
That's such a good point. There's this really cool video that Andreas Antonopoulos did about this topic.
I saw it.
You saw it, where he relates it back to the invention of the automobile. Have you seen that one?
That was a 2-hour video.
Well, he talks about how when the automobile was invented, there's different parts to the car that made it exciting and special and brand new. And he said that you can relate that to this whole blockchain lunacy and say, back then, this automobile is brand new. It's going to reshape society, but I'm not really interested in the automobile. I'm interested in the tires.
Yeah, the example I like to use is like Bitcoin is a 0 to 1 invention, right? Like it's a whole new thing, and it's made from like pieces of things that already existed, and so it's like we invented the wheel, and somebody's like, yeah, but that spoke, that's the thing that I really like.
There was a conference that I was at, funny enough, here in my hometown, and Andreas came to speak. And it was a blockchain conference, and they had all these people out talking about how they're gonna like put blockchain on everything. And Andreas spoke last, and he literally just decimated the room. And his whole talk was about how it's basically like the cargo cults in the early days of the wars, when they'd like fly over during World War II. They would fuel up ships, or not fuel up, but they would touch down in remote islands where people had never seen other people before, especially like advanced cultures with like technology and planes. And so they would have all these amazing things that the locals would get, and they'd see like headphones and planes coming from the sky, and it was all so magical. But then when the war ended, those planes no longer continued to come. So they tried to replicate the technology that they saw by using things that they recognized. So they would make like satellite poles out of bamboo, or they'd make headphones out of coconuts as a way to like bring back the people and the technology that they saw before. But it was all just like empty nothing. And that's kind of alluded to in terms of what blockchain, not Bitcoin, seems like.
Okay. So the video I actually thought it was the Pompliano. Could you, D++, tell me the name of that video you were talking about again?
Oh, it was a really cool talk. It was such a cool talk about when you have this completely new paradigm shift that reshapes society. And that one of those examples was the invention of the automobile. So I don't remember exactly what it was called, but it's really great. It's on YouTube.
Andreas only has like 2,000 videos. So
yeah, you just gotta go
them.
through. I was gonna literally say you just gotta go through all of them. Just ignore the Ethereum ones, but watch all the Bitcoin ones.
Who was it? Andreas? Who?
Andreas Antonopoulos.
Okay.
Good luck with that one.
Antonopoulos, I believe.
Antonopoulos.
Oh yeah, there's an N in there somewhere.
Antonopoulos. Yeah, Polous. If you followed any of that.
I think just Andreas Bitcoin would get you there. Might be easier to
There you
spell.
go. My man knows how to Google.
Okay, so selling all my chairs and investing in Bitcoin. Got it.
And coming to Miami and have laser eyes. And
Nailed
you
it.
now understand this Bitcoin, not blockchain. You're on the right track. I love it.
Thank you.
Dennis, do you want to take the next? Thanks, Shanna, by the way.
Yeah, Shanna, thank you so much for coming up. Let's go ahead and bring another person up here. If you're just listening in, this is the Bitcoin beginner Q&A. We just go from beginning to end with beginner questions only. Let's go ahead and bring another guest up, though. Thank you all so much for listening in. We've got Donna E.G. I'm pinging you up to the stage. Thank you so much for being patient. There you are, Donna. Why don't you tell us an interesting fact about yourself or why you love Bitcoin, and then give us your Bitcoin question.
Okay, super. Interesting fact, I am a biohacker, bam. So that's pretty interesting. And the reason I love Bitcoin is I think it's hysterical. I know absolutely nothing about it, but because of you guys and me listening day and night, I bought the Bitcoin Standard book, but I don't have time to read it. I don't have time to watch all the videos because you guys are like, you just gotta buy. So that's what I've been doing. He's like, just shut up, buy, and hold. Okay. So,
sounds like you've been talking to British.
I hear all you guys, and it's like I think I dream about you guys. I mean, it's just like really. And I am going to the convention as well, so I'm super excited to hopefully meet some of you.
Cool.
Well. So, yeah, it'll be really fun. So this is my question. So I do watch it probably obsessively because it's fun, and it's weird because you're on your on your phone and it's like a video game, and so I have to remember that it's not, that this is like real, right? This is real money. But so my question is this: what I've noticed is I get up in the morning and I look at the price of it, and during the night, sometimes I get 12:30 or 3:30 in the morning or 6:30 while I'm still sleeping. There's a dip sometimes, just a little dip. And I know that we shouldn't probably get caught up in that, but it's kind of fun to catch the dip. So I was thinking, what do you think about placing limit orders? And I don't know much about buying stock, but I've been reading about that, and I found like one place that I'm buying my Bitcoin through River or Riviera, something like that. I don't even know the name of where I'm buying it, but
hopefully it's River. If it's Riviera, you might be getting scammed. I've never heard of them.
No, it is River, and so they just made it really easy to buy, And so I did that, and then I actually called them and asked them, and they're not doing limit orders, but is it Coinbase that's
Yeah,
doing it?
Coinbase, you can do limit orders on Coinbase Pro, and you can do them on Gemini as well.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about that? I mean,
buying dip is great.
Yeah, as long as you're not overly relying on limit orders, and as long as you're not like stubborn, I think it's fine. I don't know about anyone else on stage, but I found that if I try and do a limit order of less than 5% of the market price, it generally doesn't get filled. But I also market buy all the time, so I do both.
If it makes you happy, go for it. Set limit orders. To me, I sleep better just doing like an auto DCA plan. But one thing I will say, if you want to get into doing that, is I just recommend people avoid Coinbase. They have terrible customer service. They actively work against the interests of Bitcoin. I have numerous friends who've had issues with their accounts getting locked and things like that. So, maybe Kraken, maybe Gemini if you're looking for a trading interface. But I personally do not support Coinbase, and I don't think that they are a good actor in the space anymore, although they used to be.
Okay, that's really, really good to know. I appreciate that. I did, when I talked to River, I think it was last week, they said that maybe by the end of this month, beginning of next month, I'll be able to do it on that platform. And I'm not trying to make it, I'm not going to go in and go, yeah, I want a limit order at 35. I just think it's fun. Like right now I'm looking at it, I'm going, it's dipping up and down. Maybe I'll put one in for 54.3, and while I'm sleeping tonight, I'll get it. Right? I mean, that would be kind of fun. And then you wake up and it's like a birthday present.
It's super fun. It's
Yeah.
super fun, Donna.
No, yeah, I usually don't do limit orders, but I definitely make a habit out of buying the dip. Like I always have just a little bit available on the ends. Like I have my normal weekly stack with Swan that just like constantly goes in, so I know I'm always just adding to my savings. But if I get a good solid dip like today, like I'm getting excited and I'm like, all right, let me just put another 500 in.
Sometimes it does feel good to buy the dips, but a good mental exercise to build your diamond hands for bad times is buying the tops. I like to buy the tops sometimes. I'm like, price is pretty high. I better buy because I know it's going to go down. Then I'll build the strength of my hands to hold through the dips.
I love buying the top, Brecky. I have so much fun buying the top. It's such a fun feeling for me.
Buying it in the middle is great too.
Just
buy at the bottom,
buy anytime,
and like, while it's moving, and then at the top. All of those places are great places. To buy.
Middle,
it's
top,
like
bottom.
It's like a DCA sandwich. It's delicious.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Well, thanks. This has been a question I've had for a while, and I love it. Thanks for having me up here, and thanks for all that you do. You guys are awesome.
Sure. Thank you, Donna.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
A quick welcome to a good friend, the Bitcoin Rabbi, and happy birthday to your son, Mr. Rabbi. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, so glad to be here, hopping on. Yeah, I just wanted to give my just quick 2 cents on that. I feel like buying the dip, it's great when it's automated. If you're like really can do that, and you have to be on top of that because you have to know when the dip is, because you always have to know when that is. But being active dip buyer, that's what gives you, because what are you gonna, being part of Bitcoin, there's the learning, there's the listening, there's reading, there's all these processes, but stacking sats is part of the process. So if part of that stacking sats can be an active buying the dip, where you go out there and you see, there's nothing better than when the price drops 5% in a day or something like that, and you're like, there's this kind of gut instinct, like, that fiat price feeling kind of weighs on you, and you can counter that by saying, you know what, I buy the dip. I think that it's a healthy.
It's adding buy pressure,
personally. Yeah. I when you, I don't, you don't know how much your buy pressure is affecting it, but I think that it's personally healthy to say, I'm not feeling bad that it's dipping. I'm feeling good that it's dipping.
Rabbi, what does the Talmud say? Save one sat and save the world.
There we go. Take those sats. You have no idea what those, degenerates are doing with those sats. You need to take them into your personal custody, into your cold storage, so that they're safe, they're secure, that they're going to be used for a good purpose. You don't want those sats.
That's right, because if they're selling, if they're dumb enough to sell it, then they don't deserve it. So we do need to take custody of those sats. It's absolutely true.
Rebbe, I got one more question for you.
Every sat that's come to my
Shul
presence in the past 2-3 years or something, it's like, who sent you here? Who did this to you? Why did they banish you? And why? Better for me, but who was willing to get rid of this sat and send it to me? I don't know.
There's a clip of Michael Saylor saying something similar. He's like, "Who are these people selling to me? I feel sorry for them." Rabbi, I have one question for you. The 10 Commandments, one of which is "Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's sats." I want to covet Michael Saylor's sats, man. All right, I'm in a covetous mood. What do you say to me right now? How do I stay focused and stack my own sats versus other people's sats?
I think Michael Saylor lost all of his Bitcoin in a tragic boating accident. So you shouldn't you don't worry about anybody else. That's the only thing is to worry about is your own, are you taking care of your own surroundings, your own cold storage. That's
your own stack.
Everybody else, you don't have to worry about. Don't worry about them. Just try your best.
Yeah, I was pretty sure that I actually heard Michael Saylor crashed that yacht into an iceberg, and all of his hardware wallets are on it. So I'm pretty sure
they're in an iceberg.
70,000.
No, this is my theory, guy. He's got 7 yachts, right? So I think he's doing a 4 of 7 multi-sig, and one key is on each yacht. That's my theory, my working theory.
That's the ticket.
All right, David, welcome to the stage. Let us know a little bit about yourself and your Bitcoin question.
Hey, thank you. I'm former Chicago CME floor trader, hedge fund manager. Now we're doing kind of a subscription model, and we've been in Bitcoin a while. We're out now, and we noticed or read that the total market value of cryptocurrency was equal to the total value of the U.S. dollar in circulation. Do you think that has an impact? Thank you.
You mean maybe M1?
I think it's just
Money
symbolic.
supply?
He's talking about there's 21 million Bitcoin, but there was 21 trillion in value in total circulating supply of all national currencies. Is that what you're talking about, David? Well, David can answer it. That's, to me, it was always, I saw it as symbolic, but maybe David was seeing something else there.
No, it wasn't just Bitcoin, it was all crypto. And it seems like, I don't know, Chairman Powell is talking it down.
Yeah, there was something that came out the other day that if you're just looking at M1, then Bitcoin is the 3rd largest currency on the planet. And that's dealing with like the base money and not like the money multiplier of fractional reserve banking systems and all that kind of stuff. So you have the base amount of money that a central bank creates, but then banks themselves lend that out many times over, effectively creating money out of nothing. And so technically, looking at the size of Bitcoin, it's growing immensely, but it's still quite small and it still has a lot to grow. But you're right, they are downplaying it. Years ago, Bitcoin to them was a joke. Now you have the chairman of the Federal Reserve saying, well, it's not going to replace the dollar. It's more looking to capture potentially being an alternative to gold. You see the criticisms where people are laughing at it, saying that it hasn't even become a global reserve currency yet. It's hilarious.
Was it today? I just saw a short clip of this, that it was the chairman of the Federal Reserve and the head guy
head of the BIS and
the final boss.
I mean, yeah, exactly. The 400-pound guy that chairs whatever, the European Federal Reserve or something. And what better do they have to talk about than Bitcoin? I mean, this is a completely different world than it was, 2-3 years ago. That now, like, one of the main topics that they have to consider as a big world financial issue is Bitcoin. That it's quite a change in such a short time.
Yep. All right, let's move it along. We got some more questions. David, was there a question there? I'm sorry if I missed it, or did we answer it? I don't think we did.
Yeah, just address why. I mean, does it affect Bitcoin, or is it just symbolic, which one person said, I believe?
I think it's just symbolic.
Cryptocurrency was equal to the value of dollars in circulation, was my question.
It's a milestone, but I wouldn't, I wouldn't put too much weight on it. You know, Bitcoin has a lot of space to grow, and it will continue to hit even larger milestones as the days, weeks, months, and years pass by. And you know, the other currencies will continue to hit milestones on the way out of favor.
Okay, thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you, David. I'm going to move you down and bring someone else up. Taichi Morishige. If I pronounce that wrong, I apologize. Come on up and ask your Bitcoin question.
Hello. Hi. So I have a question about the Bitcoin network fees. So out of just curiosity, really, I bought some Bitcoin back in 2016, and I have it in several wallets, and I've never actually sent, like, transacted Bitcoin, and I want to try and send a small amount, about like $5, but I've read somewhere that the average Bitcoin network fee is higher than that. So does that mean that small transactions, I mean, there's not really a point in doing them at the moment?
Have you heard of Lightning?
I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it.
Lightning's really cool. Lightning fixes this. You can do transactions basically instantly, basically for free on Lightning. There's a really cool wallet that's very user-friendly. It's called Blue Wallet. You can send some Bitcoin to your Blue Wallet and transact in Bitcoin essentially for free. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah, I would say in the context of like sending a transaction, like when you think of Bitcoin, like I would think of it like sending a wire, or I mean, actually, funny enough, it does almost the exact same number of transactions as FedWire does, the FedWire system. It is a settlement system, and Lightning is a decentralized payment system on top of it, and that's where you're going to get the low fees, the instant transactions, and talk about incredibly novel applications like streaming money and things. They're going to be built on a layer on top, but you can actually still do, and occasionally I do myself, small transactions on the Bitcoin base layer. You just kind of have to wait until, like, fees are pretty low right now. So you could probably do a $5 transaction and pay $1 fee, and it might take an hour or 4 blocks or something like that, but it would go through. But when everything's really crowded and the price is skyrocketing and stuff, usually the fee goes up to about, like, just like you said, $5, and then it just kind of becomes uneconomical. So it's just something to consider. You can watch that resource we were talking about, mempool.space, MEM pool.space. That is literally where I go to check to see what my transaction fee is going to be, to see whether or not, if I wanted to move $5 just for the fun of it, or just to test out a wallet or something. That's what I keep an eye on.
Yeah, I wanted to just say I just opened up Mempool, just looking at the transaction fees, and
fees are low.
I think, yeah, I mean, fees are actually pretty low. Like you can get something through now, like for under $1. I mean, now
it's 54 cent is a low priority transaction. 70 cent is high priority right now.
I mean, if you're talking about sending $5, so 50 cents is still, that's 10%. So yeah, I mean, Bitcoin, the base layer of the money, is not a low fee transaction network. I mean, it was not designed, and it's not meant for that. In the long term, it's not going to be meant for transacting for small amounts of money. That is what's going to be for Lightning Network and other kind of other second layer solutions and other kind of things. There's liquid, and you can do it in custodial solutions and all kinds of different things. But the Bitcoin based layer is not going to really be for small dollar denominations, but it's going to be the base layer money that has a set amount and is meant for decentralized financial transactions. So if you need that, then you can use the Bitcoin blockchain, and if you don't need that, then you can use some of the second layers, depending on what your requirements are.
The reality is, like, if you're going to buy coffee, more or less, you don't necessarily need it to have all of the security of the base layer. What's really powerful, is when we see this every now and then, is like someone will send like, $1 billion worth of Bitcoin in one transaction and it costs $5. To send that amount of money using the traditional system would cost, far, far more. So there's that. One other thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if anyone still really does this, but I think you can still mess around with testnet if you just want to like explore how it actually works. Like I think Hexa Wallet gives you a testnet wallet as well.
Green Wallet does too.
Yeah,
Mm.
Green and Hexa. Yeah.
I recommend that a lot. It's really nice if you're just trying to practice making Bitcoin transactions. That is the way to do it, especially now. Like, I mean, previously it was no big deal to make little transactions, but fees really have like gotten to the point where like the fee market is mature enough that it can be actually costly to just send play transactions, and you really don't want to break up. Like if you've got Bitcoin in a bunch of different addresses and it's small amounts, that's actually like a problem going forward. It could be a problem going forward. You want to, when fees are low, like right now, you actually want to consolidate, and get things so that you have substantial amounts in an address, and you can move that in chunks, usable chunks, to a Lightning wallet or something. Like send it to Blue Wallet or Breeze or something like that, and then make little transactions from there. Or if you don't, if you're not using Lightning yet, you can send a decent sized chunk to a one of these services that allows you to use like a debit card or something, if that's what you're, if you actually want to spend Bitcoin or buy a gift card or something like that.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look into the Lightning network as D++. Yes, thank you. And just one last question. I'm actually in the UK, and I've been using Coinbase Pro, and I heard from you guys earlier in the conversation that Coinbase isn't really recommended. Is there any best recommended exchanges to buy Bitcoins in the UK?
Yeah, man, you can check out one that's specifically catered towards Bitcoin is CoinFloor. And then there's another one that actually just integrated Lightning Network. And oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I just had the whole team on, and I just Coin Corner. They just integrated Lightning Network for deposits and withdrawals. So you can check out CoinFloor or Coin Corner, two options. And they allow you to buy with credit and debit cards, auto buys, all kinds of different stuff on there. So yeah, check them out.
Is Bottle Pay in the UK right now? Do they offer those services? Bottle Pay? I don't know, but I remember hearing about them.
I don't know on that one. I do recommend CoinFloor though, just because they've been around for ages, and back in the Mt. Gox days when exchanges were just collapsing left and right, and exchanges were rug pulling and stuff. I have a special place. I've never even used CoinFloor myself, but I have a special place in my heart for them, because back in those days, they started, I really was hoping that exchanges would develop a proof of reserve system, and that Mt. Gox would kind of be the nail in the coffin that had everybody prove that they were not running fractional reserve. And CoinFloor did it, and they've done it every single month since, and basically nobody else has. So CoinFloor is proving every month that they have all of the Bitcoin to handle everybody's accounts and withdrawals if they need to. So I always recommend them.
Great, thank you very much, guys. And thank you for hosting this Cafe Bitcoin. I find it really useful. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
I was just going to tag on while we're on the topic, just in general to the panel, but I'm bullish on Liquid Network as a way for noobs to test out everything on Bitcoin, just because it's literally structured the exact same way. So like having $10 in a Liquid wallet, you can actually now practice and do stuff there and pay, fraction. You can pay less than 1 sat per byte if you really like on Liquid. So I think up and coming, that may be a way that I recommend, almost as like a quasi test net for people to mess around with, but with some real money. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on that, but I kind of like the idea. It doesn't have as much different, it's not as, because Lightning is different. Like, it's an invoicing system. It's still like, it takes some explanation, whereas Liquid, you can at least be like, well, it's a little bit different. You do want to have Bitcoin, but hey, here's a way to test it out with like $10 or something.
Yeah, I'd back that up. I'm a big fan of testnet in general as an option, as we said, but also just like jumping right on the Lightning Network just to play around, because I think it's going to be a huge part of the infrastructure going forward. And I think that's how the vast majority of people will be onboarded to it, onboarded to Bitcoin later on. And it's kind of reaching that point where the tools are there to make it actually work, and it's getting adoption, just like BTC Sessions said. We've got a bunch of new exchanges and stuff that are coming on board and integrating it, and I use it constantly. In fact, Jeffrey, who I think just had to leave, paid me back for coffee that I bought him today with Lightning just a couple hours ago. I mean, I literally use it every day. I buy fold cards, and that's how I buy my crap on Amazon. Like, I do tons of my life in Bitcoin, and it's all over Lightning now. So I think the tools are ready. That shit works for me. It's great. So I definitely recommend it.
It's also such a really sweet way to like showcase the technology. We had a in our office in Edmonton, we had a jukebox that was powered by Lightning. So you could like scroll through a list of 6 or 7 songs, pick a song, and it would designate the song in sats. So like 6 sats or 12 sats or whatever. And then you'd pay the invoice that was generated on like a electronic ink paper, like e-paper. And then once the payment went through on the Lightning Network, it would play the song through like some little old school speakers. It was really sweet. But just when people would walk into the office and watch that happen and see the technology working right in front of their eyes, it's such a great way to show the power behind the technology.
I did a video on that jukebox, actually.
Yeah, with JD, that's right. We did vending machine too, I think, or a pop machine. But then we fried we fried the refrigeration system, so it's just like it froze all the drinks overnight, and then we walked into a very messy floor the next morning, which really sucked.
Well, now it's a Lightning ice machine.
Yeah, basically, it's like a Lightning ice syrup machine, I guess.
Well, cool. I hope we answered your question.
Awesome. Let's thank you very much for the question. I'm going to move you down, and maybe we can grab somebody else here. 1 second as I figure out what the hell I'm doing. Okay. I'll just grab what I see on the top of the list here. I'm going to grab Philip up to the stage. Philip, welcome, and let us know anything you want about yourself and your Bitcoin question.
Yeah, thanks. So I have just started dabbling with a Lightning network. I'm in the military, and I'm headed home to see my parents here pretty soon, and I have a Ledger Nano S for them. I kind of want to get them using it a little bit, and then try to get them to not only put Bitcoin on a exchange, but then onto cold storage. Do you guys have any like tips for teaching people like progression or anything like that?
Patience. I have walked so many people through kind of the initial process, and I would say go very slow, let them ask questions, and remember how unfamiliar even something like what the hell is an address? What do you mean I don't own the Bitcoin wallets in Coinbase. You know, like the very basic questions. But I literally just walk them through the process from start to finish and explain everything I can. And I've kind of broken it down to about a good hour and a half little lesson with everybody I do it with. And geez, I don't even know. I do it all the time now. So but I don't know if I have anything specific other than be patient and answer questions and, you know, help them wherever you can. And make sure they know the very key basics. Because they probably won't be using it a lot. You know, it's a savings tool for the vast majority of people. You know, getting to Lightning is still a little bit down the road for most people. So just make sure they understand what the seed is and they understand how to check an address. Like those two things are key. They know exactly how important that seed is. That is everything. They got to keep that safe. They don't give that to anybody. And they have a backup of it. And that they can check the address and they know that they have to confirm it on the device. Those are the things that I make sure, no matter what, that they walk away understanding.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to use the Lightning Network to show, like, to try to keep them involved. I don't want them to just put a chunk of money in there that they'll never see again, because if you don't use it, you lose it. But
Sure. That makes sense.
And then a quick question for D. I was on here last night, and you were about to ask for a favor, and then I think you just got stepped on by a bunch of other talk. Did you ever get to ask your favor? I had to leave.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. I don't want to waste anyone's time. I was just going to ask people to go to my Fold card because I have so much FOMO. I'm not trying to get free money. I just want the freaking card so bad. Everyone's talking about getting free sats with Fold, and I feel like so left out.
shoot me the link. I'll tweet it out.
Oh, that's so sweet. Okay. I just really want a Fold card. I'm sure a lot of you folks already have one, and you spin it and you get free Satoshis, and yeah, I want to be a part of that club.
I'm crying up here in Canada.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, you and I are just, it sucks.
I just wanted to say I wouldn't. I love Lightning Network, and I use it and I play around and stuff. But I don't know. I don't think that it's for beginner Bitcoin users. Like, if you're trying to get your friends and family to, hold on to some Bitcoin and, quote unquote, invest in and put some of their savings in Bitcoin, I don't know that getting them with like a Lightning Network app or wallet or something like that is, really going to serve that same kind of purpose. So I'd be more focused on getting them with their 12 or 24 word seed phrase, helping them save that and secure that. I would not be focusing on Lightning Network. I know, like, it's the coolest thing. Like, it's vast, and it's, you can get stuff moving around, and like it's got that kind of like cool tech aspect of it. But for like practical purposes, if you're just trying to get someone to save some money and save some sats, that's Lightning Network isn't really,
So
it's not for them.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that 100%. Bitcoin Rabbi, everything you just said, with one exception. If they're the kind of fudster that's saying that you can only do 7 transactions per second on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's too expensive to transact in, for those kinds of fudsters, I'd say, okay, cool, let me send you some Bitcoin on Lightning. but to your point, for folks who just want to learn how to hodl, then we can skip that step.
I would say if this is for, they're trying to save, they're quote unquote investing in Bitcoin and its potential in the future, is definitely, get them a hardware wallet and just show them how to save. And obviously, like Swan Bitcoin is a great option there, because like I don't even do anything with that. Like, it automatically withdraws to my hardware wallet. In fact, I kind of forget to come back and check it every once in a while. Because it just kind of works in the background. But if you do want to get them on Lightning, Breeze Wallet is a non-custodial one that I am a big fan of. But probably for somebody who's like a super noob, like Bitcoin Rabbi has a good point. It can be confusing, and if something goes wrong and you don't know what you're looking at, it can be a real headache. And it's usually not like I have very few problems these days, but it's money, so I get uncomfortable like if somebody does have a problem with like $80. So it's probably best to use like a custodial wallet for a custodial Lightning wallet, like Blue Wallet or maybe Strike or something like that.
Well, no, I don't even
For somebody
mean
who's
that
got like
they're.
$50.
I wouldn't even say that they're being confused with Lightning at all. Just that, like, if you're trying to tell them that you're buying Bitcoin so that you can spend it, I mean that's just I don't. That's what I would say is I don't see why you would tell somebody to buy Bitcoin to spend it. That's
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
That I don't see why you should be telling people right now if you're trying to get them to buy Bitcoin, that you should tell them that they should buy Bitcoin to save it, not to spend it. And Lightning Network is really for spending Bitcoin, which if you have Bitcoin, it's fun to spend. It's nice to, sometimes you want to spend some. But if you're just getting somebody started, then the first thing you're not talking to them about is about spending it. So Lightning is not the first thing that you're getting them on to.
Yeah, so I guess there's two sides of the coin. So my time horizon, I'm very fortunate to have probably 25 years of hodling. My parents, they don't, and I would just the way I'm looking at it is kind of like the .com boom. I feel this weird moral imperative to get them involved, but they're not going to see the same kind of level out that I think I'll get to see in my lifetime. So just to keep them involved, I want to pay them back for coffee on Lightning and just kind of keep them in the. My mom's brain is really sharp. My dad's brain is pretty sharp, and I think they can benefit from staying active.
Yeah, well, in that case, yeah, I mean, if you think it's specifically in their situation, it would definitely help them to kind of stay involved in using it. Like I have a good friend that I pay for like website work and like formatting and a bunch of stuff for like video work. And I pay him pretty regularly, and he has used Breeze, but I think he mostly uses Blue Wallet, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, we bounce stuff around all the time. And he's used a couple of different wallets, but he uses it a lot like I do. And it's good for it. But like, he'll actually hold it in those wallets for, a couple of months, and then suddenly it's like twice as much money as 2 or 3 times as much money as I'd actually paid him. And then he'll send it to a savings. He'll send it to his hardware wallet. So.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I guess I'll be excited to see sort of how these transactions, we just don't, I'm not geographically located with them anymore. So it's kind of cool to have any kind of regularly spaced interaction. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And then I'll do my homework on the full card because I'm not up on it, but yeah, I'll take the rest from the audience.
Sweet. Thanks, man. All right. I'm gonna grab somebody else up here. Let me snag somebody. I think I saw Austin was up here a bit ago. Let's jump Austin up here.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
What is up? A little something about yourself and your question.
I know little to nothing about Bitcoin, and I would like to know more. So anyway, my question is, I guess it's like a two-parter. I mean, first, I just kind of wanted to run through like the basic like Bitcoin plan that I understand so far by you guys, and just make sure that I'm understanding it completely. So So first you would find the platform to buy and store Bitcoin on. I use Swan. Like I read a bit of their intro to crypto thing, and like it helped explain it a bit more. And then you would buy Bitcoin on like your own personal financial plan, like if you can afford to buy it like as much as you can, or like do the dollar cost average. Is that correct? And
Yeah.
then buy a hot or a cold wallet.
Yes. Yeah. You can use a. You asking what the distinction is?
Yeah.
Okay. So like we were just talking about, what's referred to as a hardware wallet is one like, so the ownership of Bitcoin is the seed. Like it is the secret, like the key to unlocking them. So it's a piece of
You
information.
have a password. You have a password.
Yeah, you have a password. Thank you. Yes, you have a
your
password
Bitcoin.
basically that you have to keep safe. And if anybody else has that password, they can spend your Bitcoin. Now you can keep that on a computer that is connected to the internet, and that is a hot wallet, because you should consider that a higher risk place to keep Bitcoin, because somebody could hack into your computer. You could accidentally copy it. It's live on a device that's connected to the internet. Somebody could get that communication and get that password and spend
And that could be
Bitcoin.
your computer or your phone.
Or your phone. Yes. A cold wallet is one where that password, that seed phrase, never touches the internet at all. It's created on the hardware device, and then you plug that device into a computer, and then whenever you want to unlock something, it literally sends the information that needs to be unlocked to the device unlocks it, and then sends the answer back. So the keys, the password, never actually leaves the hardware device. So that's referred to as a cold wallet, and that is definitely the more important thing. If you're talking about life-changing amounts of money, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, you absolutely want to invest in a hardware wallet. And if you were talking about just $50 that you're messing around with, like something that you would keep in your, like literally in your wallet, in your back pocket, that is how I think about a quote unquote mobile or hot wallet, and then my hardware wallet. It's my savings and it's my cash that I carry around with me.
Hey folks, sorry to interrupt. I've got to run. Guy or Dennis or D or BTC Sessions, can one of you just end the room when the last of you is done answering questions?
Yeah, sure, man.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining
Good
again.
having you, dude.
Take care.
See you, Brecky.
See you, Brecky.
Can I add something to Austin's question? Austin.
Hey folks, this is Brecky, just letting you know I had to end the stream. I've got to run. But thank you all for joining us. It was a great event tonight. We will be back doing this again next Monday. Again, this is from Cafe Bitcoin, and you can find more info over at cafebitcoin.club. And we'll see you next time.